the next thing we took on was circuits that control your mood. And we decided to take on depression. And the reason we took on depression is because it's so prevalent. And as you know, there are many treatments for depression with medications, with psychotherapy, even electroconvulsive therapy, but there are millions of people, and there are still 10 or 20% of patients with depression that do not respond, and it is these patients that we want to help. And let's see if we can use this technique to help these patients with depression. So the first thing we did was we compared what's different in the brain of someone with depression and someone who's normal. And what we did was PET scans to look at the blood flow of the brain. And what we noticed is that in patients with depression compared to normals, areas of the brain are shut down. And those are the areas in blue. So here you really have the blues. And the areas in blue are areas that are involved in motivation and drive and decision making. And indeed, if you're severely depressed, as these patients were, those are impaired. You lack motivation and drive. The other thing we discovered was an area that was overactive, area 25, seen there in red. And area 25 is the sadness center of the brain. If I make any of you sad, for example, I make you remember the last time you saw your parent before they died or a friend before they died, this area of the brain lights up. It is the sadness center of the brain. And so patients with depression have hyperactivity. The area of the brain for sadness is on red hot. The thermostat is set at 100 degrees. And the other areas of the brain involved in drive and motivation are shut down. So we wondered, can we place electrodes in this area of sadness and see if we can turn down the thermostat? Can we turn down the activity? And what will be the consequence of that? So we went ahead and implanted electrodes in patients with depression. This is work done with my colleague Helen Maybird from Emory. And we placed electrodes in area 25. And on the top scan, you see before the operation, area 25, the sadness area is red hot, and the frontal lobes are shut down in blue. And then after 3 months of continuous stimulation, 24 hours a day, or 6 months of continuous stimulation, we have a complete reversal of this. We're able to drive down area 25 down to a more normal level, and we're able to turn back online the frontal lobes of the brain. And indeed, we're seeing very striking results.